What can happen from an exchange program experience? In this video, we are going to tell you why we decided to visit Brussels.
Hi, I am Mauro.
And I am Fabiana. We are life mentors, travelers, and discovery lovers. And this is Feeling Well Everywhere. We created this channel to share reflections, cultures, and experiences around the world.
Our goal is to inspire you to live with more meaning wherever you are.
What can be the side effects from an exchange program experience? Let us clarify a few points. Mauro went to the US in 1990 as an exchange student. We hosted many foreigners to bring the world into our home. We always motivated our two kids to live abroad as exchange students. And in 2010, we hosted Emma, a special and delightful girl who became our American daughter. Emma kept in touch with us, visiting us a couple of times after the exchange. And me also visited her in 2023, when she was living in Washington, D.C. And in the last year, we got together 4 times already. Emma moved to Brussels in June because now she works for the American Embassy there. And as we were already in Europe, she invited us to know her new home. Mauro and I have never been to Belgium, and Brussels was a great surprise for us. It is the capital of the European Union, and checking a bit of this culture was very rewarding. What did we do there? Well, again, we took a train because we were in Cologne, because this was the easiest way to go there. When we arrived, Emma was waiting for us at the mid-train station. Her apartment is pretty comfortable, and we had a room for ourselves. Emma took us on a walking tour, so we could see a bit of what Brussels has to offer. Belgian fries, chocolate, cathedrals, parks, lots of discoveries. And we even made a new friend there in this park.
And here we are. Emma invited us to new a park. What's the name of the park? Yeah, and then we asked some guy if we could sit with him in a table. And this is Rick.
Cheers.
And
It's been such a pleasure. It's made my entire day.
and please, Rick, what's a good place to visit in the world?
Brazil, absolutely 100%.
Can you believe that?
My favorite place. I spent 3 months there. I love it. I can't wait to go back.
An amazing thing happened. Emma arranged, in fact, she got the authorization for us to visit the American Embassy in Brussels. Knowing where our daughter works made us even prouder of her. We were lucky to be there on the week Belgium has a holiday. So Emma could go with us to Bruges, another train trip. Bruges is a tiny, cute city near Brussels with lots of beauties and culture. We hired a walking guided tour which helped us understand the city history and also the culture. Waffles, beer, and nice food for lunch made our trip wonderful. On our way back to Brussels, Emma conceived us an interview. Check it out. Hello guys, welcome to our channel. Today we have a special guest, and she is Emma Espel. She is our host daughter, yes, because so many years ago, she decided to move to Brazil. She took an exchange program through Rotary, and she lived with us for 7 months. Emma, I think I am curious, and many others are also. Why did you decide to go to Brazil? How did it happen?
Yeah, I think it was lots of reasons, but I was graduating from high school, younger than most people, and I wanted to take a gap year in between graduating from high school in the United States and starting my studies at university. And I had not heard of a lot of programs, but there was one that I had heard of, which was Rotary. So I remember very clearly, having the conversation with my parents, and they were very, very supportive and sending in the application and meeting with the Rotarians to kind of go over the process. And through that year-long process, one of the main parts is deciding where you're going to go. And the way that it was done at the time, the way that it worked in the US in 2009 was you created a list of your top 3 countries, and then from there Rotary would interview you and determine what they thought was the best fit. And the interview panel, it always consisted of some Rotarians and some current exchange students, so students that were living in the US doing exchange. And anyway, so I, at the time, wanted to become a marine biologist. I was very focused on living somewhere where it was near the ocean or there was research being done. I was so young at the time, I didn't have a whole lot of info, but I put Brazil as one of the places on my list, and after the interviews and that long process, they told me that Brazil was where I was going to go, but after that, nothing, right? You just know what country you're going to, you don't specifically know the region or the place, and this, you have to think back to 2009, right? We didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Facebook.
It was totally different.
It was very different. Everything was done by email, and it took a long time. So, and it was harder to kind of learn about other places. The information was there, but it wasn't, you couldn't look up an influencer that was living in Jaraguá do Sul. So I finally got the email saying where I was going to be going, and I was joking with you the other day. It came in the mail, and in the mail there was a DVD from the tourism board of the state, showing all the different sites of Santa Catarina. So I remember watching it and thinking, wow, it's so beautiful. And it was very different than what I expected, right? When Americans think of Brazil, they think of tropical and they think of the Amazon. So to be going to a state in the south, at one point, I think in the video, they even showed snow. So I was shocked and excited at the same time. And I think a few months later, I received an email from you introducing yourself and telling me that you were going to be my host family. So it was a long process, but part of it was in my control, right? I could pick the places that I was interested in, but it was in the hands of the Rotarians, and they thought that Brazil was the best fit for me. So, and I'm so grateful that they did.
Yes. And I think you took advantage of this experience, yes, because so far as I remember, you enjoyed a lot your exchange, and I believe it was just the beginning for you to live this whole adventure that is your life, because you have lived in so many countries. There was a little bit, besides Brazil, I think Brazil was the first country. Where else did you live?
Yeah, so I've lived in Brazil, and then I did my studies back in the US, and then after I moved to Germany and I spent some time in Italy, and after that I moved to Camarões in West Africa and spent a little over two, almost 3 years there. And then after that, I went to another country somewhat nearby in the region, Guinea-Conakry, and I spent some time there. And coincidentally, I moved back to the US in the beginning of 2020. So it was a bit harder, 2020, 2021, 2022 to move abroad. So here I am finally in 2025, realizing a new, as you like to say, a new dream, a new sueño of living in another place. So now I'm living in Belgium. So it's been a journey, a lot of places, all very different, but very, very excited to be here. Yeah.
And Emma, do you believe that all this experience that you have previously prepare you to now be working to the embassy?
Yeah, I think so. I'm very fortunate, right? I had very supportive parents. I think you both as host parents, you were so supportive and really encouraged me to study Portuguese and learn the language and integrate myself within the local community. And I think that kind of opened my eyes to what could be. And this idea of being able to live in other countries and learn from other people. And, you know, I caught a bit of a bug. That's what they say, right? Like you catch a travel bug. I caught the bug of living in other places. And I really like that. It challenged myself. It, you know, it scratched the itch of adventure, right? I was able to live in new places and learn new things. So Brazil kind of like proved to me that I could do it, and not only do it, but be very happy. You know, my happiest self. I was not a strong language student in school. I did okay, but I never became fluent in Spanish in high school. You know, but living in Brazil, I feel like I was able to learn in a different way, and that really changed the way in which I viewed living in other countries and other cultures.
Having lived in, for example, in Europe, in Brazil, and also in Africa, what did you learn from these experiences? What was the biggest lesson?
I don't know. I think that's a hard question, but there's probably like a couple of themes. You know, I think people is probably like the biggest theme, right? Like wherever you go, like you're going to meet the nicest, kindest people. So it doesn't necessarily matter the country. I mean, it can obviously make a difference, but the people are really what make the experience so wonderful, you know. And then every once in a while you meet someone who makes fun of you because of your accent, or, you know, doesn't like the idea of a foreigner living there. But I'd say, you know, 99% of the time the people are what make it just so wonderful and welcoming. I don't know, I think another thing too, right, is a theme of maybe like perspective, right? Like having grown up in the US and spent some time there, and then going to Brazil and spending time living in Brazil, you start to see things differently, and you start to see things through the eyes of the people living in that country. So I think it's a really cool opportunity to put on like lots of different glasses in a way. That's a vast generalization, but the idea of, right, like broadening the way in which you see things. But yeah, people, perspectives, I think those are probably like the most important.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what would be an advice for a youth, like a very young person who's starting his life? Do you consider, is this experience abroad an important step for someone's lives?
Yeah, I think, you know, I feel very lucky, right? Like I found something that I really loved and I've been able to do it. It's one, a privilege, and two, it's an immense joy. But I know that some people, you know, might not love it as much as me. But I think, you know, if you're curious and you're interested in doing it, I think you have to try. And I think I would really recommend people to not look at like their past experience or how well they are with languages or how good they are with languages, but really just try and take that away, because I was very nervous when I moved to Brazil, right? Like one thing I didn't mention was in the first list of countries I tried to submit, they were all English speaking. England, Australia, South Africa, because I wasn't a strong language student, and I was very nervous about moving to a country where I didn't speak the language, because I'm so extroverted, right? As you can pick up on this in my response about people, right? Like people are so important to me, and being able to communicate is such an important thing for me. So actually, you know, the first list was all English-speaking countries, and the Rotarians and the exchange students really had to sit me down and say, you know, part of this experience is learning another language. And I didn't have confidence in being able to learn Portuguese to a point where I thought that I could be happy and make friends, but it's because I had only learned a language in a classroom, right? So I think taking away that like preconceived idea about languages and also myself is really hard.
So
but
that's
was very
a
helpful.
that's a really big change in your paradigm. Can I say so? Because nowadays, how many languages do you speak?
I speak Portuguese from my time in Brazil, and from my time in West Africa I learned French, and now in Belgium I'm using French a little bit. So yeah, it's been really great.
Emma, we wish you the best, and you know that we feel really proud of you. You know, my daughter.
Yeah.
Yes, and she's a delight, guys. She's a person that she has learned so much, and she's always teaching so much to us and also to the people who she has contact with. And I believe the world needs more Emmas, and then you'd have more peace. around us.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
What did we learn from this time in Belgium? Well, relationships flourish when you take good care of them. And again, what made this worth was being with Emma, learning from her experience there, and also feeding the love that an exchange program proposed. Thanks, Emma, for hosting us there. If you like the video, please let us know. Like it and subscribe to our channel. You will really help us move to the next level, 1,000 subscribers.